All right, what is good, y'all? It's your girl B. Y'all come on in here. We got something good to cover. Now today I'm gonna do something a little different, y'all. We're not gonna be maneuvering into content into that one. This is coming straight from Cash Jordan's channel, y'all. And I think this is very informative, very good information. So we gonna watch it. I just have to say this. Okay, so the last administration left the border wide open. We had a lot of illegals getting over here freely. No problem at all. Causing crimes, committing crimes, like Trump said, different backgrounds from everywhere. You know what I'm saying? A lot of craziness, right? So here's my thing. The executive order has been signed. Czar, ICE, they're not playing. But a lot of these people still think it's a game. You know what I'm saying? They still think it's joking. Now, here's the thing. It's not going to take months. So it's not going to take days, months. This is a very serious matter, y'all. Do y'all understand how long the border has been open and how many people really crossed over here into the United States? It's going to take a good minute. At this point, executive orders have been signed. And if you are coming over here and you're not doing it the right way, it is a crime at this point. And it's very disrespectful that they still feel like they can come over here without having to go through the actual process. And I can guarantee you, for the people who have sealed and closed borders, they're not playing it. F around and find out. I am so glad that we have people who actually care about our country and actually care about people actually doing it the right way and not doing it the wrong way. Like they gotta be bold, y'all. And some of y'all probably already know this, but a lot of people are getting paid at this point because it's called smuggling people in now. Okay. And they getting paid a person to do this. They getting paid a person to do this, y'all. So it's a lot involved in this. As you can see, our tax dollars were being paid. The thing is, y'all, they love the power, they love the money, they love the control. So whatever we can do to not only just dish our money out to the BS, but figure out how we can get it right back into our pockets. This is pretty much going on. We don't even care about the country going in debt. We don't even care. We just care about how we gonna get this money back. Cause I'm thinking about this, y'all. We finna get to the video. If we in debt, the money that was going out and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? What was the benefit? How did that benefit, besides getting their pockets fat, but how did that benefit the country? That's where it's just like, you get what I'm saying? So I'm finna shut up, y'all. Let's go ahead and dive into this video, and then we're going to chop it up towards the end. Let's go.
About the illegal immigration happening at the southern border, but what about the illegal crossings that are happening at the northern border?
Our two-part special report revealed migrants were flying to Canada and walking across.
So last year, over 16,000 people illegally entered America from Canada, and a good number of those folks were headed to New York, where America's largest sanctuary city is still offering everyone who makes it here shelter beds, some in former luxury hotels. But with Donald Trump's election, crossing either the southern or northern U.S. borders has become increasingly difficult over the last few weeks. But as you're about to see, some people think they can still make it through.
Border Patrol agents recently rescued 12 citizens of India. Some of them were suffering from severe frostbite.
Are you going to New York City?
Yeah.
Last fiscal year, Border Patrol apprehended 564 people on the terror watch list. Of them, 484 were encountered on the northern border.
The Royal Canadian Mounted Police this week launched Black Hawk helicopter patrols to strengthen security along the U.S.-Canada border. Move follows weeks of President Donald Trump threatening to impose tariffs on Canada and Mexico if they do not step up border enforcement efforts.
This is the new reality for agents in the Swanton sector. 295 miles of tough and varying border terrain across 5 northeastern counties of New York, where once it was more common to see deer than people, the border is seeing record illegal crossings.
But now new data tells a different story. While according to the numbers, the decline in people crossing the northern border is evident today, it's clear some are still crossing and maybe hiding in plain sight.
So while smugglers are still offering passage from Canada to New York, President Trump's border crackdowns are making the journey almost impossible. But what nobody's talking about is that securing the northern border, although necessary, that's also going to be almost impossible because it is the longest land border in the entire world. At least that was the theory before President Trump took office and forced Canada to do something about the flow of illegal people and substances entering our country. And Canada is not only increasing their law enforcement presence along the border, but also implementing drones and helicopters to stop unauthorized crossings. However, the bus routes used by those who do manage to cross the border and were uncovered 6 months ago are still in operation. And people are still getting picked up by buses just walking distance from the Canadian border and then driven right here to the Port Authority bus terminal in Manhattan, where it's just a short walk over to the Roosevelt Hotel, where newly arrived individuals who may be here unlawfully are given hotel rooms, food, medical care, and humanitarian services. Plus, since New York's shelter system doesn't do background checks, some of those being assisted could be dangerous. Terror watch list suspects or members of gangs we already know live in some of these facilities. Which brings us to the
And which I'm about to say this too, and I'm just going to make this, and I'm going to say this loud and clear. Do not sit here and try to blame this ish on Trump. Because I swear when he had first term, and I learned about this when I was on my journey learning about him, he wanted to secure the borders then. He wanted to build a wall. He wanted to do all that. And a lot of people were calling him racist. Are you trying to, you racist towards this person and that race and that race. This man wanted to secure the wall. But of course, the haters, you know what I'm saying? It has to go through a process and all this. And they wasn't for it. They wasn't for it. So y'all not finna sit here and try to blame Trump for this. No, this was the last administration, the Biden and Harris, that allowed this mess to go through. And the fact that these people don't care is what's pissing me off. You know what I'm saying? And that just goes back to the, past administration. They didn't give a damn. So why should these folks even care? Like, why should they care? Really? This is why I'm glad we got a change in the office. We got some authority in the room. Some people that's actually going to go out there and get some stuff done. You know what I'm saying? This is just ridiculous. I'm sitting here watching this and I'm just like, and then just finding out what Elon didn't discover what our tax dollars has been paying for. Meanwhile, again, I'm going to keep stressing this. We got homeless veteran, homeless people, all these people out on the streets. You know what I'm saying? Needing somewhere to go. When a crisis happened here right in our country, there ain't no money to help none of our people. So our people got to die, lose everything that they have and all this other type of mess. But we got the funds to support illegals that ain't supposed to be here. Half of them criminals and them murders the American citizens. It's ridiculous. That don't even sound right, do it? It don't sound right. It doesn't. Let's get it. I'm sorry, I'm just a little pissed because this just is irritating. It's stupid to watch because it's like, yo.
The real reason why a secure northern border is so important. Not only do the wrong people use it as an entry point to American sanctuary cities, sometimes things come across that border which do untold amounts of damage to our society, destroying it from within, causing the psychosis and mental distress that's been fueling our growing homelessness crisis for the last several years. But there's a problem because Canada's only working on border security because Trump forced them to. And New York, America's largest sanctuary city, is undermining border security by harboring those who in many cases are not only dangerous, but prey upon and exploit other lawful immigrants and law-abiding U.S. residents. And as you're about to see, this resistance movement doesn't benefit immigrants, but what it does do is help maintain an unstable situation along the northern border that certainly benefits criminals. So here we are at the Port Authority bus terminal where every day people from Canada arrive in New York City on buses that travel along routes passing through upstate New York, where they make stops at local businesses and gas stations to pick up passengers, some of whom walked across the border on foot and are hoping to make their way here, where some people believe they can live a normal life while hiding from the U.S. federal government.
Are you going to New York City?
Yeah.
Our two-part special report revealed migrants were flying to Canada and walking across, many of them with the goal of making it to New York City. We looked at federal data that told the story of an increase in Border Patrol apprehensions along the Canadian border over 4 fiscal years.
So that report covers how people fly to Canada, walk across the U.S. border, often with the help of criminals, and then get picked up by buses like this one at random gas stations in upstate New York. And apparently smugglers are still making bank helping people cross the border and come to a sanctuary city, with a recent Post investigation revealing that these guys are making $45,000 to $5,000 a person. And apparently they advertise their services on apps like TikTok, just like what you see here in this picture. Here you've got a group of 7 people at a random gas station somewhere. That's $35,000 in that picture. However, it's not just the Canadian coyotes, as they're called, who are making money off this. The bus companies, they make plenty of money doing this, although what they're doing is not illegal, as buses are allowed to operate and pick people.
Yeah, they are. Check the buses now. Check these buses, because see, these people are, and I understand they drop people off and stuff, but hey, if they're part of the problem, check them buses now. This is crazy, y'all. And at the end of the day, it's all about freaking money.
People up on the street. And of course, this greatly benefits all of the nonprofits in New York City, who receive both city, state, and federal funding to manage the asylum crisis. On top of that, it benefits the taxis and ride shares that have been spotted picking people up just south of the Canadian border as well. There's a whole economy based around this, which the Trump administration is trying to shut down as fast as possible.
In this picture from Clinton County, New York, you see 2 men with backpacks. It's dated November 9th. This image dated December 1st, 2024. This one taken in the morning. But now new data tells a different story. A 60% decline in Border Patrol apprehensions from October to December of last year.
So over the last year, tens of thousands of people crossed this border and were released into America after being apprehended, whether they applied for asylum or not. And prior to the 2024 election, the odds of successfully getting here were a lot higher. And apparently what people used to do was cross the border and then call 911 to get help from local police reaching a safe, warm location. As you could enter America, give yourself up to authorities, and still be allowed to stay, but things don't work that way anymore. And crossings are plummeting, partly because of the weather, but also because anyone who gets caught is going to get turned around right away. Plus, it's no longer legal to seek asylum in this country if you don't come in through an official point of entry. And this rule change has effectively led to the end of the asylum crisis as we know it. But this brings up a big question. If crossings are down and new crossers can't come here and seek asylum, who exactly are these people, and what are they going to accomplish by only being allowed to live in America illegally?
That's not happening anymore.
Major Nicholas Leon is the chief deputy with the Clinton County Sheriff's Office. The agency regularly assists Border Patrol.
It was anticipated that after the election, with some of the different promises from the incoming
President Donald Trump.
So look at that. Since November of last year, this sheriff says the entire immigration situation along the U.S.-Canadian border has completely changed. And prior to the 2024 election, you had 2 different groups of people who were coming across the border. The first type were people who were willing to cross the border unlawfully and then turn themselves in, receive an immigration court hearing date, and remain in America while their asylum case played out. But the second group of people are the gang members and the criminals who made money off the first group, smuggling them across, who also used this opportunity to bring members of their own criminal organizations into the country for purposes other than pursuing the American dream. And so many criminals came here that the crime rate in Venezuela actually went down. As the local economy is so bad, criminals had no choice but to leave that country and come here to do what they were doing. And we now know that a good number of these individuals ended up in places like New York, where they not only benefit from deportation protection, but also a soft on crime legal system.
President Donald Trump promised deportations on the campaign trail. And since the inauguration, we've seen moves toward that promise, including executive orders, ICE crackdowns, deportation flights, and preparations with plans unfolding to hold alleged criminal migrants in detention on Guantanamo Bay. In a statement...
So the reason things are different now is because this whole Remain in America immigration policy, that's now canceled. We're back to remain in Mexico or whichever country of origin one wants to come in from. And people can still apply for asylum. They just can't do it and wait around inside America. And when the asylum crisis first started, we had stories of skilled professionals that were coming here to seek a new life in America. But now that the asylum crisis is over, anybody coming here, they can't possibly have those ideas in mind. And there is now no pathway, not even one that exists on a technicality, which would allow someone to come here, get work authorization, and start living a normal life while waiting to see if they can stay in the country legally. Which means nobody nobody on their way here right now across the northern or southern borders can possibly care about getting deported. And those are going to be your gang members, your dangerous individuals, your terror watch list suspects, people who after the country kicks them out are just going to do whatever they can to try to come right back in again. However, this full stop to unlawful immigration has some of New York's sanctuary city leaders very upset. And now New York is going to do everything it can to keep those borders open by continuing to give people a reason to cross them, even if the federal government tells them it's illegal.
Of course, because they are getting paid to do it. Everybody is getting paid to do this. They are making money off this whole organization. I'm telling y'all. That's all it is. Literally.
So this incredibly tall, skinny building with the security cameras out front, it's called the Candler Building. It's one of the city's shelters for asylum seekers. It holds 400 people. And even though the asylum crisis is over, places like this still exist. And they're still here if someone wants to come to New York and check into one. And critics say keeping places like this open, even as residents inside of them move out, just acts as a magnet for future unlawful immigration. But New York City's in a weird place right now. Progressive leaders feel very threatened by the new president and his plans for this sanctuary city, some of which will now allow ICE to go into New York City's jails and get criminals.
Councilmember Robert Holden from Queens says the border czar wants to reopen an ICE office at Rikers Island and wants the mayor to provide NYPD officers to help ICE agents. But doing so could violate the local sanctuary city laws that protect immigrants.
So now it's official. At that meeting, the mayor agreed to reopen the ICE facility at Rikers Island, which has been closed for almost 10 years. Something New York City progressives are absolutely losing their minds over, because to them, criminal records are less important than open borders. And they see New York as a sanctuary that has a mandate to resist all immigration rules, no matter what they are, no matter if they work to keep the general public and law-abiding immigrants safe. And even though having ICE back in a New York City jail would allow them to collect dangerous individuals after they're off the streets and disarmed, our local progressives don't care about that, even if releasing those very same people back to their communities just puts them in danger, which is what we've been doing. And all we've got to show for our decriminalization of things like theft, robbery, and assault in our sanctuary city status is the prevalence of dangerous gangs like Tren de Aragua from Venezuela, several members of which were just busted selling illegal weapons to other gangs and other criminals in our city and in other states. But now, because of this agreement, there are progressives here who want the mayor to step down. They are so upset that anything would be done to remove their precious criminals from our jails that used to release them.
The mayor says he agreed to open up Rikers to ICE agents and to daily meetings with the DA's office to discuss getting dangerous and illegal immigrants off our streets. But it's clear the mayor can't shake the appearance that his willingness to help Trump is tied to his own legal troubles.
His gambit to stay out of jail, he has shown himself willing to give up seemingly every New Yorker.
So by helping the federal government remove dangerous people from our city, every New Yorker is apparently now at risk? That is some fear-mongering. I'm sorry. And yes, the mayor's political enemies are speaking this way because he was recently let off the hook from a federal investigation, which many say was politically charged due to his speaking out against the last administration's handling of the asylum crisis. But sadly, every immigration policy trumpeted by the Trump administration is something our leaders are just painting as bad for everyone who lives in New York, even at a time when it's clear New York's progressive justice system is failing to stop crime or keep the general public safe. It's a magnet for these gang members too. And this is really strange because here we are in a progressive city that has had progressive laws for a long time, and things are just getting worse. And then when somebody comes along and wants to make a change to that, and the mayor says, hey, I think it might be a good idea to get rid of some of these criminals, people here just lose their minds. They think that that is going to be the problem when their ideas have led us to where we are today. And at first I was struggling to wrap my mind around why a elected officials would want to take care of people who harm their own voters. That didn't make any sense, but then it clicked. Many progressives in sanctuary cities view America as an evil, awful country which only exists to victimize the less fortunate. And in their world, nobody is less fortunate and more of a victim of America's policies than someone whose presence in this country is illegal. Never mind the fact that when people come here, they are exploited immediately by predatory businesses, predatory gang members, and in many cases owe massive debts to cartels for trafficking them here in the first place. But to our leaders, somebody who's in the country illegally, they are more of a victim of America's evil policies than many other folks, especially Americans, which explains why they're so concerned about sticking up for people who might be members of a dangerous gang.
As the immigration crackdown continues and some retreat in fear, people all throughout New York are stepping up.
We will stand together against hate and attacks that seek to divide us.
The New York City Council is providing more than $2 million in emergency funding to nonprofits helping immigrant communities.
So after ICE first made its presence known in New York City by arresting a whole bunch of dangerous gang members, our city council freaked out. And they've authorized an emergency $2 million payment to a whole bunch of nonprofits that are supposed to advocate for immigrants, because now is the time to fight back. Something that makes absolutely no sense unless it is your goal to fight back against policies that protect gang members from deportation. Something you can only do if you hate our president and our country more than you hate the crime these people commit, which most of the time is centered upon the very immigrant communities they come here and try to blend in with. And these gang members, they don't just come here to sneak in weapons and sell them to each other. They use those weapons to force people to join them, trafficking them as members of their gang who then go on to commit crimes, or by forcing people to do things they'd rather not, like sell stolen products on the side of the street, or to work illegally at a local business to pay off debts for being brought into this country in the first place. And it's the gang members whose photos are on the sides of businesses and on wanted posters who've been attacking and harming our communities for the last several years. And removing them from New York would make it a lot safer, as would canceling the policies that brought them here in the first place. What do you think about that? Is New York trying to resist the new president by keeping its sanctuary city policies? Are those policies bad for America? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.
That was good. That was very informative, y'all. And again, like, this is crazy, but that's why you have Pam Bondi in place, y'all. She's not playing. She's suing these mayors and governors who are not falling in line as they should. So I think we got a good pick in office, and they are going to get what they need to get done. Again, this is going to take some time, y'all, because the border was just freely open. Freely open. Y'all know how many people that got in here, which is crazy? A lot. Okay? And a lot of it was the help of the last administration. I'm going to keep on saying that. They had a whole organization. Look at these, sanctuary cities who are still protecting and saying, hey, we're going to protect them by any means. You get what I'm saying? So I think it's just crazy, though. I think this whole thing is like a pure joke, y'all. It really doesn't make sense. Like, it's crazy that they'd allow so much damage to happen. So many lives lost behind them not having a heart and not caring. Like, I'm just sick of it. I am. You want to be here? Do the right thing. Point blank, period. That's it. Do the right thing. Go through the process. Who would want to be here right now anyway with you having to look over your shoulder? Nobody wants to live like that. Just do the right thing. It's just that simple. It's that simple, y'all. Let's chop it up in the comment section. I hope y'all got what y'all was able to get out of this. It was very informative, very good content. And I'm telling you, they finna F around and find out. They about to F around and find out. And the crazy part is the people who's actually behind these organizations, like the people that's riding and picking these people up, and then, hotels and all of that. Like, that's sickening. But again, these people like money, and they don't care how this money is coming. They don't care who gets hurt behind this money. As long as they pockets stand flat, that's all they care about. And that's the sad part. But I'm so glad we got Trump and his team in that are doing what they need to do every single day. It's going to take some time, but it's going to get done. Let's chop it up in the comment section, y'all. Appreciate y'all for tuning in.